If you're still trying to justify your prices, you're already losing the game. Because the real problem is you're trying to serve people who don't actually belong in your world. But the solution isn't lowering your prices and trying to pitch harder. It's building a community that pulls in the right people who will come back to you time and time again. And let's talk about how you can do that. First up, the real problem isn't price. It's about belonging. And most business owners do not talk about this. They have no idea. And this is something that I have been learning throughout the past 10 years, and especially more recently. Because when you're constantly defending your price for what you're offering, it's because you're talking to the wrong person who doesn't actually value what you have to offer and who you are. And look, I've been there. Again, I've been in business for myself for almost 10 years, and I have lowered my prices. I've lowered my commissions. I've done it all. And when it comes back to is the fact that I was just talking to the wrong people, especially early on, because later on in my career, people were coming to me, right? And I was doing attraction-based marketing, and they loved what I was saying and how I presented information and the knowledge that I had in certain areas. And the price argument never came up because I was talking to the right people, right? And that's how you focus on building community. That is one of the most powerful things that business owners can do, right? And I wish that I would have taken this more seriously. I wish it would have occurred to me years ago to focus more on building community, and I have done that in my certain ways. I've built multiple different communities that have brought me in hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And that's great. But at some point, it doesn't become enough. And that's what happened with me. Like, it just wasn't enough anymore. And I wanted to start trying to make a difference. And that's why you're seeing this video now. And that's why you're seeing Clear Voice Media, because I want to make a difference. Because I found that building communities when it comes to business is not for everyone, because they don't know yet. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And that's the journey that I'm on now. I'm taking everything that I've learned and packaging it in a way that is valuable to you. Communities aren't built by pleasing everyone. They are built when people with a common interest come together for a shared belief. The next point I want to talk about is how you can actually attract and repel people with your offer. Because here's the deal. The best businesses out there repel the most amount of people. They push away the most amount of people. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, Sean, how does that actually make sense? Because I don't want to push people away. I want to do business with everyone. If you have that mindset that you are the person that can do business with everyone, that your message, that your content is going to reach everyone, then you end up reaching no one. And I've seen this firsthand, and I've shifted so many different times. And now I'm finally landing on this one solid thing of helping build community. Great businesses don't just attract, they actually repel the wrong clients. They're going to not be for everyone. And again, that is what you're looking for. You don't have an offer that can fit every single person's needs, wants, and desires. You have to focus, hone in on one specific buyer avatar, right? And it's a big change. I get that. I understand that. I'm doing it now, right? So I'm learning as I go. I had another business that I was very successful in it. And it's like, I'm leaving all of that behind because I feel drawn. I feel compelled to start something more valuable. And I understand that what I'm doing is I'm talking to you. I'm talking to one specific buyer. I'm not trying to talk to everyone. Your offer is the filter for your community. Who do you want in? Like, who do you want to invite in? And who do you not want to invite in? Because again, there's going to be a lot of people that think they want what you offer. They think they want what you have, the message that you're delivering. But they're going there's a lot of those people who are going to be the ones who are trying to beat you up on price, and they're trying to make you lower your price and lower the value that you deliver. That's why your offer and what you're offering is your presence, your message, that is the filter for the community that you're building. Hey, look, if you're attracted to what I'm saying here and you want to go deeper with me and you want to join my free community, all you have to do is click that link in the description, right? It's super simple. You join the community, I get to go behind the scenes more and share more information, more content, and actually see and build community in real time. So once you get good at attracting the right people and repelling the wrong ones, this next part is very important because we're going to go from pricing battles to movements that actually sell themselves. And here is what happens when you're actually able to create a movement that sells itself. And look, I've had this experience personally in my business with my other YouTube channel. When I focused on one specific avatar, right? The right client that I wanted to work with, and I have a really good use case for this. I technically still am a real estate agent, right? But I'm more focused on helping other business owners create clarity and build communities through valuable video content, right? But when I was focused in on this one specific avatar, right? I was helping people to buy short-term rentals, okay? In the Pocono Mountains. Very, very niche down, very specific. And I got really good at it. And I got very in-depth knowledge of what to do, what not to do, because I did it myself and I helped other people do it as well. But when I made that focus, right, and I started creating that community of people like who would find my videos on YouTube, they would reach out to me, and my video content, and this is what you can do as well, your video content sells itself, right? You're making videos already. You're putting stuff out there already. But for the most part, most people aren't putting things out there that are valuable enough that sell themselves, right? They're trying to sell features and benefits. That's not what people want, right? Most people don't just buy on features and benefits. They buy emotionally. They want to feel connected. They want to feel a part of your movement. They want to feel part of your community. When I did that, again, people would reach out to me and say, can you help me buy here? Never once did the pricing come up for commission. Never did. They wanted what I had to offer, right? Because I focused in on doing that. And I got very specific and very good at it. And this is the mindset that I want you to have as well moving into it. If you get very, very clear on what you're offering, then you can create content around that that attracts the right people, repels the wrong people, and it sells itself where you don't have to negotiate anymore because they just automatically want what you have. Because no matter what, the right people don't need convincing. They just lean into what you already can offer, right? So once you nail that down, this next part is not something that everyone talks about. And I really want you to understand it because it is so valuable. This may sound funny, but you don't build a community in your head. You can have the ideas for the community in your head. You can have the structure for the community in your head. You can brainstorm the community in your head, but you don't build the actual community in your head. You have to put it into action. You're going to post about it all the time, like I'm doing. You're going to speak about it to everyone that you talk to, like I'm doing as well. You're going to, for lack of better words, sell your community through how you approach your content. You cannot build a community of like-minded people who want to work with you, who want to do business with you, if you don't actually put it out there. That's why you get more clarity through action than overthinking. Every single person in the world overthinks what they do. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many millions of dollars you make or how many pennies you make. Every single person overthinks certain situations. As business owners, we tend to overthink a lot of things. And that leads us to not do anything, right? That leads us to just sit on our hands. But when it comes to building a community, clarity is gained through action. That is the number one thing that I can give you in life in general, and especially with business. You have to take action. I don't care if you don't feel like you're ready, because you need to test. You need to figure out what works. You need to figure out what doesn't work. You need to figure out what to say. You need to figure out what to not say. You need to figure out who you want to work with, and you need to figure out who you don't, right? That's the only way that I know how to do things. I just take action. I take action before I'm ready. I think of something, maybe run it through a few filters, with my wife being one of the biggest ones, and then I take action. I do. I see if it works. If it does, I keep going in. If it doesn't, I try and try and try until there's a point where it's just like, okay, this isn't working, Sean. Try something else. Every video, every offer is a chance to find the right people. And it's a chance to send off to people who, again, are not going to be a good fit. But you can only find that out if you take massive action up front and do the work. And once you do that, this next piece is like the entire puzzle coming together in a way that is literally going to blow your mind, just like it blew my mind. There is a major shift that will eventually happen where your clients become advocates. And that is huge. That is an enormous feat to accomplish, right? I've seen it not at a very, very, very high level, but I've seen it at a level enough that made me a lot of money, you know? In another use case, before I really started diving into the short-term rental space, I was part of a real estate brokerage, right? And I was there just as an agent, got very close with my broker at the time, eventually partnered up, and we built something very powerful, right? That's still going to this day, and it's just gaining more and more steam. I'm not part of it anymore, but I helped build it really from like the ground up, from 16 agents until the highest during my time was 110, right? We built a very, very powerful community of agents who were not clients anymore. They were true advocates. They loved the brokerage. They bought in to the mission of the brokerage. They talked about it all of the time. We never had to do any kind of paid advertising to bring in agents. It was all advocate driven, word of mouth, video content, right? That is so powerful. That is what can happen to your business, right? You will get to that shift where their clients start to become your advocates, and then you build that community of people who love you. They come back time and time again. They're going to buy any kind of offer that you put out there. And that is where the magic happens, right? That is what you're going for. Businesses will come and go, just like anything. But communities are built to last. They're built to stay for a long period of time, as long as you keep contributing, as long as you keep showing up time after time. And it all comes back to what you're really offering. And if you want to know more about how to clarify your offer, then make sure you watch this next video.